Hello everybody. Today I'm going to be going through the parenting system and I'm going to be giving you my own strategies that I use for parenting. I hope this video makes you be able to make better parents and therefore you can build stronger aces. I noticed that the quality of parents in global isn't really the best, so I hope this video will help combat that issue. Let's start with the simple stuff. These are going to be some of the parents that I have made or grandparents that I'm going to be using in the future. Outside of this sand sky, of course, this sand sky is not mine, but I'm just want to show you some of usages of parenting. Some of them might not look good. For example, this Mayano Topogan. But once I talk about how Sparks itself works, you will understand that this Mayano Topogan could be used for decent usages. So let's start with the basic stuff. The parenting in itself follows this principle, something called the grandparent into a grandparent into the main parent itself. So the grandparent section is going to be like this. It is going to be any two Umas that have relevant white scales or white sparks on them. Everything else doesn't really matter outside of the pink spark, because if that pink spark increases the attribute to A, it could make the pink spark less consistent, which could be slightly annoying. Second thing is that affinity doesn't really matter for the grandparents, and also the blue sparks does not matter. So why do we do grandparents? White sparks increase their chances depending on how many of your grandparents and also parents have a specific skill. Let's say I have all my Umas have groundwork spark on them. That means is that for each one of them it will increase the chances by 1.1 times multiplicatively, which would add to 35.4% instead of 20%, because each step increases by 1.1 times. It will increase the chances to get groundwork spark significantly compared to usual. So that is why we do the grandparent. We try to get the grandparents to have at least some of the white skills that we want. I'm going to be going through this as a front runner player, but you could use this principle for pace, late and end. Everybody can work with this same strategy. The next thing, the skills that can be upgraded, like right-handed double circle, front runner double circle, like front runner straightaways, let's say like long corners double circle, they will have slightly more chances compared to usual to be sparked. This is going to be helpful if you are trying to chase green sparks or strategy based corners, straightaways, or distance corners and straightaways. It is increased by about 25% compared to one like a common skill. So here are the chances over here, depending on how many of your parents and grandparents have the specific skill. So at 6 it becomes 44.3%, which is actually a decent chance to get the specific skill as a spark. So that is going to be nice. Next up is going to be something which is going to be very nice, and that is if you bought the gold skill of a specific skill. For example, we have the gold version of groundwork. I would get double the chances to spark it. This is why taking the lead or concentration is very good, and that is why Mihano Bourbon or Silent Suzuka is considered to be very good parents. This is why, because they have access to gold skills of a decent spark, that being focus, taking the lead, and also potentially groundwork through the Smart Falcon power card. The quality on them is going to be substantially more likely to be very good. As an example over here, the base chances is 40%, and it increases up to 70.9%, which is very high to get a specific skill. So yeah, if you wanted to chase a specific skill or a specific group of skills, you can clearly use some Umas that have those sparks in them. And the more that you play, the more that you will probably have a couple of green sparks, or I mean white sparks, just sitting around. So these are examples of a grandparent over here. As you can clearly see, for example, this Silent Suzuka, she has focus, she has early lead, and she has groundwork, which is nice. She also has this Summer Marazinski on one of her parents. Since Affinity does not matter that much, you can just use this, both of them, since she also has groundwork on it. She also has playtimes over. Or you could use this Mihono Bourbon, since this Mihono Bourbon has early lead, she has groundwork. The stars itself does not really that matter for the grandparent. What matters more is that the spark itself. So you can use these just so that you can start getting the grandparent. So going from the grandparent to the grandparent, you are fine with 2-star blue spark. Trust me, 3-star is very annoying to get, but 2-star is just fine. The pink spark should be either the desired distance or turf. Sometimes the strategy is fine if you hit a very good parents, but the pink spark is not like the ideal one, and it's fine. Then you should focus on your affinity and race white sparks. And also, white sparks are going to matter the most still. So I'm going to explain the affinity system, because it is actually going to be extremely powerful. Each common race that is between your grandparents and also the parent is going to equate 5 total affinity. The reason is that parent 1 with my grandparent 1 is going to count for 1 affinity. Then my parent 1 grandparent 2 is going to count for an extra affinity. On the other side, my parent 2 is going to be with grandparent 1 and 2, so that's 2 extra affinity, making it up to 4. And then parent 1 and parent 2 will share the same common race, so that means that I get 5 total affinity for a single race. Just know that you have to win the race in order to get that affinity. And each Triple Crown affiliate counts for 5 additional affinity. So over here, the races that are like on a green box, those ones are going to be a part of a Triple Crown. So it is very important for you to win these races so that you can get extra affinity. I'm going to explain why affinity matters, because it is actually something that I have seen a lot of people just neglect, and this is going to actually matter a lot more than what you originally expect. The higher the affinity that you have, the higher the chances that each individual spark on each character is going to proc, which increases the value of white sparks and also hints, because you are proccing more skills at pure inspiration. This over here is an example of a very strong parent lineup. The reason for this is that Haishia Akebono, Taiki Shuttle, and also Sakura Bakashin can run the following. They can run sprint and mile, all of them. So that means if we go back over here, you could swap this around and make it a sprint and mile focused races that are G1, G2, or G3, and they will get a lot of affinity with each other. So your affinity will skyrocket into the 200s, which makes your chances for sparking on inspiration very high. So affinity matters a lot more than what you think. Going from the grandparent to the parent, Umas with good unique should be prioritized. The blue spark ideally should be 3-star, but 2-star is fine. the pink spark matters a lot more since you are going to place it on the parent that you are going to use. And the white skills still matter the most. So these are examples of very good science guys over here on global that you can borrow as a grandparent to put it on your main parent. For example, I used the science guy over here, the top one, on my Major McQueen, and I also used it on my Anno Topigan since her affinity with everyone is decent, and I got myself a very strong parent overall. So this science guy helps my Major McQueen have better value for players that want to use a grandparent that does not include Science Guy. And that is how over here I have this Major McQueen has my main parent, and these two be my additional parents over here. And the good thing is that I could use this Major McQueen with that Science Guy on a character, I don't know, maybe like Silence Suzuka, and I get a very good Silence Suzuka because I have already a very good Major McQueen on my side, and I also borrowed a very good Saints guy. That means that the result of my Uma is going to be like decent at first, and then once I eventually get a good run, I would have probably one of the best Silence Suzukas on the server. And lastly, you should be playing the Unity Cup scenario because the next two champions meeting is going to be a sprint champions meeting, and also the next one is going to be a mile champions meeting. And the sparks on here is going to be better since Unity Cup spark is power and wit, and since sprint and mile don't really need that much of a stamina requirement, the URA finale spark only gives you speed and stamina, which means is that half of it is not going to be that useful. However, the Unity Cup scenario also comes with the benefit of Ignited Spirit Power, Ignited Spirit Wit, and also sometimes you could see some people use Ignited Spirit Guts. And also an additional effect is that for the sprint team that I showed over here, since your sparks itself is not going to be the best over here, since you are looping or trying to get like decent grandparents, Unity Cup Spirit Explosions can give you like a sprint corners, a sprint straightaways, these types of skills, which will help you get better parents. And yeah, that's pretty much it. If you found this video to be helpful, consider subscribing and consider joining the Discord server, link it in the comment section, and I hope to see you in the next one.